Question is that the bill be now read a second time. Mr. Seah Peng.
Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill addresses two important matters relating to the policy on adoption of children. The first, regulating the behavior of individuals. The second, regulating the structure of institutions. And we need both to work seamlessly together in what is essentially a very private, a very emotional affair, the birth of a family. Sir, in the adoption of a child, the overriding consideration must, as what the Minister has described, the centrality of the child. Our dream is for every adopted child to have a good home and a family to take care and to love them. I shall now make a few points about the bill. First, one proposed change is to prioritize applicants with stronger ties to Singapore. In this case, I would like to ask if the threshold of strong ties is sufficiently high. My question lies in the case of joint applications, which are allowed as long as both applicants are permanent residents or PRs. If the test is that of ties to one's country, should not one applicant minimally be a Singapore citizen? Yes, PRs do have some degree of permanence, but they do move on when circumstances change. For example, there are those who renounce it after the first term, or there could be others who have had their PRs subsequently not renewed or approved. Second, the change of default to disqualifying applicants who have committed serious offences, rather than allowing all applications and then reviewing on a case-by-case basis. I agree with this as a matter of efficiency and also as a signal of how high we set the bar for qualifications. At the same time, even as we have safeguards to disqualify applicants with certain prescribed offences, we do allow exceptions if the court is satisfied that these individuals have reformed, and I'm supportive of this. I have a related point, however, on how this relates to the wider point on protection of children. Our duty of care towards the child must be of the same level when it comes to birth parents. As I had indicated earlier in my speech at this year's Committee of Supply debate on MSF's budget, we must be as prompt and forceful in separating a child out from birth parents or families where they are deemed to be harmful to the child. Can the Minister say how this is provided for, if not in this bill, then in other legislation relating to oversight and responses to child abuse? And how parents who have committed serious offences are dealt with insofar as their ability to continue their parenting duties? As much as I support this bill for what it makes explicit, I would also like to point out an important provision of this current bill and what it leaves implicit. This bill allows for single parents to adopt, and I have over the years spoken quite a few times on the status of single parents and how our definition of family should expand to include these parents. As a result of this provision for sole applicants, one question may arise for single parents who subsequently marry. Specifically, what happens to a child if the sole parent goes on to legally marry someone of the same gender overseas? This issue in itself is one which opens itself up to strong debate. But I'll say, as far as the issue of adoption is concerned, the overriding consideration that I spoke of at the start of the speech still holds, which is the centrality of the child, and for every adopted child to have a good home and a family to love them. If that condition holds, I would say there is much that the bill can stay silent on and allow the circumstances of each specific case to be examined on its own merits, whether the single parent marries here or overseas, and what the family unit eventually comprises. I end with two specific points on regulating institutions. First, how do we ensure or strengthen the assessment process for prospective adoptive parents? Can we ask for more testimonials and references to attest to the parent's character, as well as for specific performance indicators? In this case, I opine that more is better. Second, in ensuring that assessments are current and also recognizing that the entire process can take some time, potentially up to 3 years, the current proposed change is to put the onus on the applicants to notify authorities of any material change in their circumstances. I agree with the placing of the onus, but I would like to add that we might want to impose annual affirmations and declarations on the part of applicants. This reduces the chances of declarations being overlooked and removes an excuse of forgetfulness for applicants. Again, in this case, better to be safe than sorry. Mr. Speaker, sir, in some ways, the adoption of a child may seem to be open to more checks and scrutiny than the birth of one, because we see our duty to the adopted child as a joint and a public one. To some extent, this is a duty which extends to all persons who are vulnerable. It is our collective duty to care for those who are unable to care for themselves, and to put up rules both for private conduct and in our institutions that work towards the flourishing of children within families. So I support this bill as a means of doing so. Thank you.